Good morning. This is Carl Dakin, and this is the Successful Funding Show. It's New Year's Eve, and as we close out 2024, we are working hard to get ready for 2025. And to do that, there are going to be a number of changes, additions, extensions of my work and my efforts to share what I've learned about funding with everyone. And one of those primary activities that everyone's going to see more of in 2025 is the offering of CAP, my AI avatar, that's on my website, which will be able to answer questions 24 by 7, 365. So anytime that I'm not accessible or you don't want to talk to me, you can talk to CAP, and CAP can try to answer your questions. I have with me today, who is worked with me, is Amelia Ano de Laurentiis with Knowledge Avatars. CAP is an AI avatar that is seated, for lack of a better description, on the Knowledge Avatars platform. It is a product, a service that Emiliano offers through his company. And he and I have been working in this area for a few years now, trying to figure out how to use AI in education, how to use it best, how to use it within an avatar format. And 2024 has been just a blitz of change, improvement, increase in capability, potential, so much so that we're still assessing, acknowledging more that we can do that we may not have thought of before or even planned for. So looking forward to going into 2025 with a tool in the toolbox that is going to be a major addition to everything I'm going to do. To start off with, Emiliano, good morning. Thanks for being with me today.
Good morning.
CAP is an interactive I thought I had this all turned off, and I apologize. We'll get this all set. We have CAP is interactive, meaning you give it questions where you see down at the bottom of the screen, it says enter your message. You can speak orally or you can key it in, type in your question, and CAP will give you an answer. He'll give you both a written statement that you can read. He also will state it orally. And Emiliano will be posing questions to CAP throughout today's program to help you better understand what we're talking about today, and to demonstrate to a high degree the utility, the usefulness, the capabilities of use of an AI avatar, particularly by people like myself who are in an advisory role, a coaching role, working with our clients and people, trying to help them understand and do things that they need to do where they either don't already know or they're trying to make a decision on how to better integrate or do something in the funding area. So we're going to start off with a first question to CAP, which is please state your ability to answer questions.
I have the ability to provide information and insights related to raising capital based on data and knowledge available up to October 2023. If you have specific questions, feel free to ask, and I will do my best to address them professionally.
I would like to point out that one of the differences between Knowledge Avatars and other platforms is that you can train Knowledge Avatars with your own content, and this bot CAP has been trained with your knowledge, Carl, right? Which you did
Right.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the key aspects of what we're going to get into today, and it's very important from that aspect. As you hear Cap, he may sound a little bit like a chipmunk, but that he normally has a deeper, more powerful voice. But we'll skip over that attribute of Cap for the moment. This is an important thing that we talk about in using knowledge avatars instead of a chat bot or other things out there that are AI tools. In that, if you ask ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini a question, they go out to the massive amount of information that they have access to, and they're going to give you what we call a consensus answer. It's something that is sort of generic, it's sort of middle of the road, it's an amalgamation of all the information that's out there. And that's really good, it's really great. We're all in favor of all that. But part of the problem is that everyone on the planet, which I saw this morning, we went over 8 billion people now on the planet, we're all different. And we all have different needs, and these needs are reflected in what we know and the questions we want answered. And so asking a general AI like ChatGPT a question will get you a general answer, which may be incorrect for you in your particular situation. So the consequence of that is you're getting information that's correct for somebody else that may be incorrect for you. It may actually be completely wrong, 180 degrees diametric away from where you're at. And as those of you who have read my newsletter and who have seen my writings know that one of my biggest complaints about the capital industry is that most of the knowledge, supposed knowledge that's out there that's provided via TV and the internet and the media uses what I call a Silicon Valley mindset, which is every business deserves funding. Every business is going to grow up to become a unicorn like Google or Facebook. And there are people standing around ready to throw money at these wonderful business opportunities that are going to make everybody fabulously rich, which is not true almost all the time. And so when you think about doing a capital campaign and raising funding, you're going to get information that probably is incorrect for your situation. It's almost certainly wrong. And if you follow it, you're going to follow it to a point where you're very upset and frustrated because it won't work. So what we've done with Knowledge Avatars is we created a second set of information that is the primary source for CAP answering questions, which is all the information that I have provided. It's been trained into CAP. This is all the writings I've created on my newsletter. It's from all my books and prior workshops. It's a whole body of knowledge of mine, which serves to bias the information, meaning it's no longer generic or consensus. It's aimed primarily at small businesses, entrepreneurs who are raising money, who may not ever be a unicorn, who may never get an angel investor, and therefore it's more real and appropriate to you in answering questions. So it's very important to understand this distinction that what Emiliano and I have done using his platform, and which all of you have an opportunity to also use, and we'll get to that at the end of the program. But
and Carl, was the trading process easy or hard? How was it?
This is part of what we call the history of this. When we first started years ago, training took time. You had to map out your concepts. You had to do all the stuff. Today, it's instantaneous. I can take the transcript from today's successful funding show, which I'll have in 2 or 3 different formats after the show is over. And with that text from all the stuff that's said here, I can cut and paste that into CAP, and immediately CAP is going to have access to that same information that has been presented this morning. So the training has gone from a challenge and time consuming and so forth to something that's so simple that anyone can do it, and you can keep it up to date. And this is a very important point, another important point about avatars and why I think they're going to become more important. So as an example, how many of you have heard of the Transparency Act? Put your hand in the air. This was an act passed by Congress that was going to require all small businesses to divulge information on all the owners of those businesses, because they're trying to chase down people who are laundering money and engaged in illegal activity. And the fact that it's going to cost all these small businesses all this time and effort to file the necessary forms to update the government on who's who, they didn't care about that. This is what we call a regulatory burden, and I could get off on that for hours. But they passed the act, and it was supposed to take effect this year. If you filed this year, you had 90 days in which to create your record with FinCEN. And if you were already in existence prior to 2024, you were supposed to file by January 1st. Well, a lot of people thought this was a stupid law, and they took it to court, and they got a court to say, nope, you don't have to file. And everybody's going, wow, great, we're done. Well, yesterday, another court said, no, it is a stupid law, and we're going to make you enforce it. And then another court stepped in and said, no, it's still a stupid law. You don't have to. Now, if you play tennis and you like to see information going back and forth, at the daily minute by the hour, good thing. But if you're a business person, you're going, how am I supposed to keep up with all this craziness that's going on in government regulations or in the laws or anything else going on? And one of the ways that can be achieved is to keep an avatar about your business, what you're doing, and updated on a daily basis, which, as Emiliano asked the question, how long does that take? Just a couple minutes and you're done. So you're going to see this kind of need for instant, up-to-date information and knowledge becoming a regular question for clients, customers, and other people out there who are trying to help their people, their client base, stay up to date. And it's hard. There's so much information out there from so many different places, but setting up your avatar and setting up a training regimen to make sure it's got the information you want in it to share with your people, that's now capable. And it's an amazing change in capability that still need to make adjustments for. We have Pierre Clark has showed up in the audience, and Pierre has made the statement, this is a really useful tool. Congratulations on implementing it. Thank you, Pierre. We have in this format, it's a live stream where the audience can ask questions, make comments, and so forth. And I would invite the audience today to submit your own questions to CAP and let CAP answer those so that you can see that I didn't hard code wire this whole thing so that this is truly an interactive service that's available. So invite all of you to consider doing that as we get into the show. So I'm now going to start. We're going to take Emiliano. We're going to hide his image so you can see CAP better. And we're going to shift this over a little bit more like this so you can see CAP even better. And so I'm going to ask some questions of CAP. Emiliano is going to key them in for me, and you're going to be able to see his response. One of the questions I have for CAP this morning is, why do people prefer asking an artificial intelligence questions instead of studying a book or basically engaging in a long-term, large-scale type of educational program?
Many individuals prefer consulting an artificial intelligence avatar for information due to several reasons: convenience, speed, and accessibility. AI avatars provide instant responses, are available 24/7, and can distill vast amounts of information into concise, easy-to-understand answers. Additionally, AI can tailor responses to specific questions, making the information more relevant and actionable without the need for extensive reading or research.
And as usual, CAP summed it up extremely well. I think of CAP as a form of education, where it's kind of a just-in-time education, as I need it, when I need it, which is a very different form. Most of my career, even yet today, I have to take continuing legal education courses. I was working with a friend yesterday on his continuing education, and it uses what we would call in manufacturing batch education. They give you a whole chunk of information, which often includes all kinds of stuff that you don't need, it's irrelevant, has nothing to do with what you're doing. And you have to kind of weed through it or filter, sort through it to get to whatever it is you needed to know in order to take an action or make a decision. So I have found that an AI avatar, such as CAP, allows me or people that use CAP to get just as much information as they need without a lot more information they don't need, to not only be on point and not embellish it with a whole bunch of useless information, but it can answer specific questions, and it can get to a question that is more tailored to who you are and what your need for information is, rather than getting a book that was written for thousands or millions of people, or even, I guess, 8.1 billion people on this planet. And you're saying, well, this is a nice generic answer, but I wanted something more specific to me. So as a tool for me as a consultant, I asked the question of CAP is, how can an artificial intelligence like CAP on the Knowledge Avatars platform, how can it help me as a consultant in answering questions asked of me by the public or by my clients? This is, here we come.
As an artificial avatar on the Knowledge Avatars platform, I can assist you by providing accurate information on raising capital, including funding options, investment strategies, and best practices. I can help streamline your process by offering quick responses to common questions, allowing you to focus on more complex consultations. Additionally, I can support your efforts by delivering consistent, reliable information that helps build trust with your audience.
Yeah, and this is one of the benefits that I see of working with an avatar is I get a lot of questions from a lot of people, and it's no surprise. A lot of the time when I get a question, it's the same question I get from a lot of different people. I could take my time to answer them personally and give them the same answer to everybody because they're asking the same question. It's not one that requires customization. It's something like, well, what's the difference between a safe note and a convertible note or something of that nature? Well, CAP can answer that same question and I give the same answer, which frees my time up to give answers to questions which are more specific, which are more custom, which go beyond what CAP can provide in the form of advice to customized advice or consultation for people who have a question that is just unique enough that it's going to be outside the scope of what an AI can help them with. We have another comment from Pierre this morning. I have used it, and as a professional development consultant and fund creator, I can tell you that it's very comprehensive and surprisingly accurate. I assume this is due to your personal experience. I hope so. I'll say that. I have tried to put information in about doing things and where there is what I consider a distinction between how I think it should be done, particularly for a small business and particularly one that may not be attractive because it doesn't have a high rate of return or it's still in its infancy. And it's considered so risky that it may not be considered fundable by hardly anyone. I try to help point to things that can be done that are not in the general reading. It isn't like something you're going to find online in Reddit. It's not going to be something that you're going to find in a book because we are supposedly outside the rails of what is common and usual. And we're now getting down to things that are still common, but they're not common to everybody. So I will continue to add to CAP, and this is a part of its ongoing training regimen, trying to figure out what else I can do and how I can do it. As an example, I'm getting ready to release a book. I'm going to use this word carefully here. On the top 10 challenges to raising funding. And this is a list which I'm going to share briefly here on my screen to show you what it looks like. And this is attempting to try to figure out what are, in my mind, the 10 things that commonly a small business community project may encounter in raising funding and why they're struggling to succeed in their funding effort. Now, for those who want to see the full list, it's going to be published in my instant funding newsletter today on LinkedIn. So if you get today's edition, I'll have the full list there for you to take a look at. And the plan is to have this book ready for show and tell, sale and distribution in the next couple of weeks. Now, the important point to make here is that it's no longer going to be a book. It's going to be a dedicated AI avatar on the topic of the top 10 challenges. So we're going to create a cousin or niece or nephew to CAP. We haven't figured on the exact look and feel of the avatar. But anyone who gets the book is also going to get a 1-year subscription to that avatar that they can ask questions about the top 10. And throughout the year, there'll be additional information added to the avatar. So it's going to get smarter and better and broader knowledge about how to respond to these top 10 challenges and it's all included in one price. So one of the questions I was going to ask Cap, if we can go back to Cap, I lost Cap somewhere here. See where we're at. Here we go. Sharing the screen threw me off. What would be a good name for an educational program that is a combination of a book, a webinar, and an artificial avatar? Because I need to come up with a new label or name for what we're talking about to distinguish it from a simple book or a simple webinar or an AI avatar. And this is a brand new question for Cap, so I'm as curious as anyone how Cap is going to respond to this and what he's going to suggest. Yeah, so sometimes when you ask Cap a very complex question, he overthinks it. It's the best way to describe it. And you have to repeat the question.
Consider naming the program Learn Smart Synergy, as it conveys the continuous, adaptive, and intelligent aspects of the education experience.
Okay, Learn Smart Synergy. I'm not sure that Cap's going to get an award for sales and marketing today, but this is the kind of thing that you can place a question to Cap to see what kind of a response you can get. I often use Cap and artificial intelligence as kind of a brainstorming tool where I'm trying to find out what's going on. We have another statement here from Pierre. It says, I asked your avatar Cap question on raising tax incentivized capital for a development fund, and I am creating with partners, and the answer he gave was very useful and made suggestions I had not considered. This has been my experience as well, Pierre, is that I have a range of things. And if somebody asks me a question, I usually answer it with what I call top of mind response. I'll have something that comes to the front of my mind, and I put it on the table and we talk about it. But it's very uncommon to think about all the possible options, all the possible time. So what I like to do when I work with Cap and any other avatar is I like to ask them for a list. What would be your top 10 suggestions? What would be the 10 things you would consider? And I give it a specific number, and I try to make the question as detailed as I can make it so that it is something that fits me, fits the answer fits the question. And I find it extremely helpful to have this more comprehensive cafeteria of answers. I may agree or disagree that they should be on the list or they're in the top 10 or whatever happens to go, but it serves as a different form of a muse or creative element in putting something like this together. So today, I'm talking about the top 10 issues or challenges facing small businesses. And I would like to ask Cap, why would a small business benefit from knowing the top 10 challenges to raising funding?
A small business would benefit from knowing the top 10 challenges to raising funding because it provides insight into common obstacles that entrepreneurs face in securing capital. By understanding these challenges, small business owners can better prepare themselves, strategize effectively, and seek solutions to overcome potential roadblocks in the fundraising process. Additionally, awareness of these challenges can help entrepreneurs navigate the complexities of the capital marketplace, identify the best investor candidates, and craft compelling investment offers that resonate with potential investors. Overall, knowledge of the top 10 challenges to startup funding can empower small businesses to proactively address issues, increase their chances of successfully raising capital, and ultimately support their growth and success.
Yeah, so as they say, knowledge is power, and the ability to know that a problem exists, to anticipate how that may impact your ability to raise funding, and to proactively develop a strategy that will address by either remove the challenge altogether or reduce it to a manageable size. This is the everyday challenge of every business owner, of everyone who is a leader of a community project, is to try to get ahead of the game instead of being completely reactive all the time where you're fighting one fire after another. What you have with this book, this avatar, or as Chad called it, this Learn Smart system, synergy system, is you can start saying, oh, I see where I'm going to hit a wall up here, or I need to get some information together so I can answer an investor question before it's asked. And all these things contribute to a higher probability of success, a smoother operation of a capital campaign, potentially converting an investor candidate who's on the edge, is teetering one way or another, to get them to tip over in your favor and make an investment because of the fact that they feel that you're being a good, competent manager of your business, and that you are being responsive to the people around you. All these things are attributes that investor candidates take into consideration when they're doing this, that, or the other. So one of the questions I get a lot about CAP that I do want to answer here, and then we'll kind of bounce through some of the other things going on, is what's the difference between a knowledge avatar, artificial intelligence, and the Chat GPT or Copilot or Gemini? And I would like to differentiate or distinguish as much as possible why these are different and how important that is.
Knowledge avatars offer services in the creation of artificial intelligence learning management systems that can be customized to share selected information in the manner of a digital receptionist or sales assistant. On the other hand, ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini are AI language models that focus on generating human-like text based on the input provided. While Knowledge Avatars specializes in tailored AI learning management systems, the other platforms are more general in their text generation capabilities.
Yeah, so this is one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, is distinguishing between tailored or what I call biased information, information that may be more accurate to your specific questions than what you would get through ChatGPT or one of the other platforms that offer consensus information. This distinction is important, and at the same time, you can start crafting your information world so that you have information that is at different levels. So presently, I'm using CAP as information that's available to the public. So I put all kinds of information into that. I can set up an additional, and that's what I'm talking about here. I'm going to be doing a workshop, which will be coming up in a couple weeks on my motivated method for raising funding. We're going to create a dedicated AI avatar on the Knowledge Avatars platform that will be able to answer questions about this workshop and the motivated money method. In the top 10 challenges that I've talked about, we're specifically going to be addressing challenge number 9, which is one of the greatest errors of people pitching for money is they're talking to the wrong people. If you take all 8.1 billion people on the planet and you reduce that to the people who might actually make an investment, provide funding to your organization, that number can get very small in a hurry. And what we do in the motivated money method is we try to identify who those people are who are the most motivated, who have the highest and greatest reason for making funding available to whoever's asking for the money, because in some way it advances their agenda, it helps them attain their goals. It is you become an ingredient in what we would call their recipe for success. So this workshop, which will be in a couple weeks, you can get more information on my website and from my instant funding newsletter on the workshop. And we're going to add to the workshop a workbook, which means we'll have templates and exercises. And we're going to add a dedicated AI avatar from the Knowledge Avatars platform that will be available to people who sit in on the webinar for an entire year. So if you have one of those challenges like I do, where I sat through a high volume educational program, and I'm taking notes and trying to figure out what I understood and didn't understand, this will give you an opportunity to go back and ask the avatar that's assigned to this workshop book and workbook and ask questions and say, what did Carl mean when he said this? Or what does this term mean? Or how would this work? And so you'll have access to this ongoing 24/7 type of information following the workshop that will be available to you as part of the purchase price for the workshop. So this is, in my mind, a very important redefining, reframing, reformatting how educational programs are presented, because it isn't like a drive-by event where you get one chance to try to absorb the information, or you may get the video recording afterwards, which I also offer, but then you just watch the same statement. And if you didn't understand it the first time, you still may not understand it the second time. So what this allows is that we'll have an avatar that you can ask questions about, well, what is motivated money? What is it? What is a motivation? How do you identify people who are most motivated? How does that translate into a funding campaign? These are all the things we'll be going deep on within the workshop. And you'll have a chance to listen and learn and apply this information to your own funding campaign. But most importantly, you'll now have 1 year after the workshop in which you can go to the dedicated avatar and ask it more questions that you can apply to what you're doing in your specific, unique situation. So this is why I see that AI is going to transform education away from batch to just in time, to allow you to move from singular events to subscription year-long services. And it means that you're getting better information, greater ability to utilize and test that information and put it to work for your specific situation. So this is a major difference in how I'm going forward in 2025. Right now, a lot of you who are subscribers to my Instant Funding newsletter, this is a newsletter I publish Monday through Friday, except holidays, so there'll be no newsletter tomorrow on New Year's Day. But every day I ask CAP a question about the lesson, the funding point that I'm sharing with the readers of my newsletter. So if you go back and start looking over the last few weeks, this has been a new component part of my newsletter. And I'm using this to allow people to understand that CAP is there. I ask a question, you can go directly online to my website and you can ask CAP the question directly. This is a QR code that will take you directly to my website, to CAP, where you can ask questions of CAP. There's no charge for this. So this is one of many ways in which I'm trying to share all the information, all the knowledge that I've learned over the last 45 years as best I can to everyone. And so you can read my newsletter. You can watch this Successful Funding show every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I also offer up to everyone an opportunity to give me a call, schedule a 15-minute webinar phone call where we can talk about a question that you may have that you want to get a little deeper insight, get my perspective on that may help you better deal with that particular question. Then as we go into 2025, we're going to be doing a number of books, of one of which is the one we're talking about today, which is Overcoming the Top 10 Challenges to Raising Funding. I'm also going to be publishing a book called Dakin's Edge, which will be an instructional guide for people who want to raise money for their favorite charity. And the sales of that book will go as proceeds to the Cancer League of Colorado. So that's all a charitable contribution as I try to help people understand how to raise money for their favorite charities. And then we're going to be doing a series of workshops and then some boot camps, such as the Motivated Money workshop. So stay tuned for more educational programs throughout the year. But in each of these, you will now see a presence of an AI avatar, such as CAP, where CAP is what I call my public-facing avatar. I will have a number of dedicated avatars for each educational product that I put out there. But it's also possible for me, and I'm still going through my planning on this, where I may, on certain projects with certain clients, I may set up an avatar that's dedicated to that specific project, where I want to help somebody run a capital campaign. We can set up an avatar that's dedicated as a support information source for a person who is going to raise funding, whether it's by crowdfunding, a private equity raise, they're going to do any kind of a revenue share or any form of funding whatsoever, where the project's big enough that it may justify creating an avatar and loading it up with all the information to help walk through the process to implement a capital campaign to attain the goals that have been set for that particular capital raise. And so that would be something that would be limited access between me and my client that I'm working with. And then on a larger project where I may have a number of other people working alongside of me, and there's several of these that I'll be working with in 2025, the project may be big enough, it makes sense to create an AI avatar specifically for that project, which acts as a shared information, not available to the public, but shared to the team members, where we can all load up our information into that avatar so that the avatar is like the central bank of information for everything that we want to know about the project. So if we find a magazine article, we find an R&D type of study, we get some information or feedback from a private source. We can put this into an avatar that's only accessible by the team members. And this becomes, again, a tool for us to use on a project by project basis with different people having access to the different avatars depending upon who my team members are. So this covers a broad range of different applications. And so I'm going to bring Emiliano back into the program, and we're going to shift to a different setup here. But Emiliano has been working in the field of education that's called EdTech, which maybe that's a better word than learning smart system, whatever. But he has really studied how people learn, how there is a concept nodal base for connecting different thoughts together. So you can elevate the detail or go granular on detail, and they all remain coherent. One of my biggest complaints about most educational programs for entrepreneurs and small business is there is this thick layer of startup information, which is often incorrect and incomplete. And then somebody goes, well, I want to do something. And you jump from here to here, and there's no in-between information. And it makes it very difficult for someone who's got a little experience that says, well, this is either not on target or it's off target, or I already knew half of what they're trying to tell me. So I feel like I'm wasting my time going through the cycle. Working with an avatar, I've found that the avatar, when you ask it a question, is almost anticipating how much you already know by the way you ask the question. So you can get to a much better answer very quickly in a much more efficient fashion than opening a textbook or going to a webinar that is doing a really good job, whether it's here or here or here, but it may be off target for where you're at. So in addition, everyone's different, as I said. Everyone on the planet could have their own avatar to help them through their daily business. And the price point is relatively inexpensive for an individual avatar. And Emiliano has informed me that he's willing to give us that year-end special for viewers of today's program. So Emiliano, why don't you share a little bit of information about how they can get this and pricing and setup of a new avatar?
Sure. Thank you, Carl. First of all, I want to say I'm really pleased by looking at how you're using your CAP and your knowledge avatars. I think that the whole idea behind knowledge avatars was for it to be an avatar of your knowledge, and that is exactly how you are using it. And also, you're finding ways of monetizing those knowledge avatars, and that is again. I've been developing educational products since the 1980s, and one of the challenges, I had one of the first .coms, for example, in education, and that was in the late 90s, and the challenge has always been how to monetize it, and so what I've been trying to do here is to also democratize the system so that you can come in, create your knowledge avatar, and literally within a few minutes have a link that you could share with other people, and a code that you could put on with an iframe code that can easily allow you to embed your knowledge avatar on your website. And that is the whole idea behind it, that this avatar is an avatar of your knowledge that you can share with the world. I think a lot of people are a little confused today, because what they see with chatbots and other systems is that they pay for a service, and then they go to that service to access the bot, but it's not really publishing your knowledge. And this is where we are different, is that we are here to help people empower themselves and empower their capabilities. And there are many different types of avatars, knowledge avatars, that you can produce with our platform. We've a library assistant, for example, a medical companion, a car manual. In fact, I have programmed my car manual. I've trained my bot on my car manual, because I can't, every time I need to remember which kind of oil do I need to use, or how often do I need to change the oil, I don't want to look through that manual. And I have a little QR code on my dashboard that I just link to, and there you go. So the general price, to answer your question, is $20 a month. You can if you buy for the whole year, it's $200, so you save $20. But I'll give you a 20% discount. All we need to do is get your email address, and we will gladly send you a code for that special Carl Dakin code, so that you can get that 20% off your first knowledge avatar. And you could produce more than one knowledge avatar, by the way, as you are doing. I think consultants and coaches and teachers can make use of this in a very very big way.
Yeah, so I've displayed my email at the bottom. Just send the email to me that tell me that you want to talk to Emiliano about his year-end special, and I'll get you and Emiliano hooked up. And feel free, when you send the email to me, to ask a question. How might you use an avatar to assist you in your business, in your community project, in your funding campaign? Because I'm all over that question. I'm going to be exploring, pushing the envelope on as many ways as possible where we can make an avatar, make your life easier, help you address the top 10 challenges to raising funding, and therefore improve the likelihood of success in you attaining your capital goal in your campaign. So
another thing I'd like to add, Carl, is that we have a blog on knowledgeavatars.ai. That's the website. Our blog has a series of articles that talk about different use cases for knowledge avatars. And we also have a new podcast that I just started, where we'll talk about how knowledge avatars can be used, and how the different use cases, but also a lot of the background behind knowledge avatars. And we will also be interviewing people who are currently using knowledge avatars. So that is the podcast is available on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and it's called Brainwaves: The Knowledge Avatar Experience.
Yeah, so I've put up the URL for Knowledge Avatar's website. And so as we wrap up today's program with occasionally bumps in our internet access, everything is still here, so that's all good. But I want to thank our audience for being with us today. I appreciate the comments and questions that have come in during the show. Because this really is an attempt to share information that we have gained, we have learned about raising funding, what's going on in the world, bringing on guests like Emiliano, who are experts, who you may want to consider adding to your team, either directly as a consultant or by acquiring an avatar from Knowledge Avatars. And all these things just are there to help you succeed. And in particular, from my perspective, in helping you succeed in raising the funding you need to start your business, to grow your business, to complete a project in your community, and even going so far as to helping rebuild and revive communities that are currently under-resourced, underserved. So thank you to the audience. This program is recorded. It'll be available for later viewing on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And as I said earlier, all the information, the transcript of this program is within the training regimen for CAP. We take the transcript, we cut and paste it, and a couple minutes later, CAP can talk to you about this program, because it's that easy, that quick to update and train an avatar with your specific personal information that you want to put into the avatar. And if you're working with a larger organization, as I described earlier, you may end up with 2, 3 more, or a dozen avatars, because one is public-facing information you want everybody to have access to. You have one for your company or organization, which is internal, one for your customers, maybe one for each of your employees, as you want to help them advance their career, help them with their career planning, and build their skill base. So there's so many different ways that you can do this. This is at the very, a year ago, we were breaking out with AI everywhere, and through 2024, we have to go back and ask ourselves, did we think of everything? Is there anything else we can do? How else can an avatar help us? We've come to answer some of those questions, but I expect in 2025, we're going to have more questions and more answers, and we're going to get more help from the use of AI, with Knowledge Avatars being one of the groups I'm going to be working with continuously through 2025. And I'm working with Emiliano to figure out how we can get more value out of an avatar as we go forward. So thank you, Emiliano, for being a guest. Thank you for helping.
Thank you for having me.
CAP.
Thank you.
And everyone, we want to wish you a happy new year, and we'll see you next week on the Successful Funding Show.